In a regular VGP, the on-lead blood tracking portion will have an actual carcass at the end of the track on test day, but it's not necessarily important that you train with one because your dog really doesn't have any opportunities to do anything that might harm that game. However, if you're training your dog for Totverweisen or Totverbeller, it is really important for you to introduce some sort of full carcass just to make sure that they understand that you have the same expectations for them whether they find a hide or a full carcass at the end of the track. So during this step of the Totverweisen training, I'm introducing Liesel to a full carcass of a deer fawn. So check the regulations in your state. In many states, you're able to pick up roadkill deer fawns or, roadkill deer in general. If you call the state game or fish department, they can issue you a special permit so that you can have that road-killed animal. So that's what I've done in this case. The fawn that I'm using today was legally acquired. It was a roadkill hit fawn that we have a permit for. However, you have to be pretty lucky for that to work out. So for most of you, this means you're probably going to be searching on Craigslist or checking with local farm co-ops to see who has goats. I mean, just getting a young goat that was maybe stillborn or just a smaller breed of goat, or you can use any hoofed animal. So small pigs would also work. Or again, you can use a full-size deer carcass, just gets hard to store. So we tried for years we're finally lucky enough to get a roadkill fawn that we could use for training. All right, so I've already put Liesel's blood tracking collar on. You can see that nice 2-inch thick collar. I've already snapped on her bringsel. We've got the blood track laid about 65 meters downwind. It's a little longer than I would normally do to introduce the dog to a fawn, but again, it was hard to get my fawn. I baby it, so I wanted to make the track long enough to end where I could place it in a nice dry spot instead of in the snow. So we'll go ahead and get her started here. So we'll get her in starting position. And I'm going to give her a track command while pointing at the blood, and then we'll ask her to find the fawn and toggle it. I should mention too, you want to keep the fawn somewhere where you can see, so you can make sure that the dog is treating it appropriately and just flipping the bringsel up. It's okay if they sniff it for a few seconds before they grab the bringsel. That's really normal. But if they start to try to retrieve it, you want to be close enough that you can issue the correction. So don't start with anything longer than this. And in fact, you should probably make it closer if this is really your dog's first time with a full hoofed animal carcass. All right, ready? What's this? Track. The nice thing about blood tracking in the snow is you can see that the dog is exactly on your trail. All right, so she's found the carcass. She's checking it out, grabbing her bringsel. If they hesitate for too long, just give a quick calm whistle. But again, that was pretty normal. She hasn't seen a fawn in several months. And because I'm in sight, I need to really encourage her to toggle, so I'm leaning forward. Such a good girl. But where is it? It's great if they stay on the blood track to get back to the deer. They don't really have to. In fact, most dogs are going to make some shortcuts as you go through the woods. But it's similar to the on-lead blood tracking, where as long as they're within 60 meters of it, or they're still actively searching for you or the deer, that's all appropriate behavior. Good girl. Where is it? Again, nice to train in the snow because it is helping to keep her right on the track instead of cutting too many corners. Anytime they get kind of sticky at the hide or at the carcass, bend over, coax them back to you. Good girl. Because again, some dogs are going to get sticky because they really want that food reward and they know it only comes at the fawn or the carcass. So that's why we're working so hard to keep coaxing them back. So she thinks she's done, so I'm going to stop and make her come back. Good girl. If they don't do it on their own, feel free to call them. Okay. Where is it? You can see she's gotten a little bored with the exercise and is trying to check out other scents. It's fine, as long as we keep her on task. Oh, good girl, you found it! Yeah! Good girl. Good. All right, so she did a nice job of finding that and guiding us back to it. So if your dog is doing this well, then it's probably time for you to start moving into the woods where they will have even more sense to distract them and you won't be able to watch the whole time. But again, do not go forward to that step until the dog is successful here. Drop. I should also mention too, just because we introduce the full carcass in this step doesn't mean you have to train with the full carcass the whole rest of your VGP prep. I just bring it out randomly. You know, I bring it out a week or two before the test just to make sure they still understand that have the same expectations, but I might only pull it out, you know, once a month otherwise. I think it's more exciting if they just see it every now and then if they don't know what's going to be at the end of the track. So use it intermittently from now on. For the rest of this video series, I'll probably go back to using the hides just because, again, I really want to baby my fawn so I can use it for training and testing in the future.